Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. What we have for you guys today is our very first Gen 2 Viper, and a very special one at that. This one is a 1999 GTS Coupe, painted in Viper Bright Silver Metallic with those blue stripes. Absolutely gorgeous color combination. One owner car, 79 miles, that's right, 79 miles. One of the best, if not the best, example of a Gen 2 Viper probably in the country. Fully in the wrapper. I don't think we've ever had a car that has been in the wrapper quite like this one. We're gonna walk you guys through it, show you around. Pretty neat. 25 years old, considered an antique. Very rare to see examples like this one. Nowadays, you know, the trend is to get a car, tuck it away, keep it in the wrapper. But to have an example like this, 25 years old, where a lot of the guys that had these Vipers drove them, used them. Very, very few and far between to find examples that are done quite like this. It is our first Gen 2 Viper, but I gotta say I absolutely love the body lines. The Gen 5s took a lot from the Gen 2s in terms of body style and aesthetics. Probably why we love the Gen 5 so much, but also am open to the looks here on the Gen 2. Great color combination. We've heard it's believed to be one of 22 in that color combo. So the Gen 2 Viper started in 1996 and concluded in 2002. And it was actually the first generation to have that fixed roof coupe. Still has that V10 motor underneath, giving you 450 horsepower in this generation. But we're gonna walk you guys through the spec on this Gen 2 1999 Viper. So like I said, it is a one owner. It's the first time that this car has ever been offered to the public before. Fully in the wrapper, 79 miles. The GTS Coupes, like I just said, were the first ones that had that fixed roof edition on the Viper. Exact production numbers on the Vipers are hard to kind of find. I've noticed that even with our Gen 5s when I've tried to come across them, if it weren't, you know, the special edition cars, exact numbers are really hard to locate. It's not like other cars. When you're looking at the Corvettes or Mustangs, it's a little bit easier to obtain those records. But from our research, our findings were that there were a total of only 484 GTS Coupes for 1999. And this is one of 22 with the silver over the blue stripes, which was a one-year only color combo for this generation, and arguably the most sought after because of the low production. With the look that car and driver referred to at the time as menacing, this car features a silver exterior paired with blue racing stripes. And when you really look at the body lines on the car, for a car that's 25 years old, if you saw this on the road, you would never think that it is 25 years old. It fits right in with a lot of the modern stuff that we see on the roads today. Like I said, it takes a lot from the Gen 5 Vipers. Viper is no longer being produced, as we know. It concluded in 2017. So to find any generation, any examples that are done like this is definitely a blue chip investment long term. For the Viper's second generation, Dodge did redesign the chassis, the suspension, and the brakes to make the car more manageable without losing its over-the-top performance. Some of the newer updates included power windows, keyless entry, air conditioning, and 18-inch chrome wheels and power mirrors. And that's one thing that really stands out on this particular example, is that big chrome wheel that you guys see on all four corners of the Viper. It takes up a lot of space, but really has that classic look that so many of us are used to seeing on those Vipers. The Viper GTS Coupe was an instant hit with performance enthusiasts who weren't sold on the Viper Roadster's all-weather open top idea. The coupe roof design includes two bubbles over the seats to accommodate drivers wearing racing helmets, and that wasn't just a gimmick. As Viper Coupes found immediate success in the sports car racing world, both in SCCA National Championship Racing and in the Professional World Challenge Series, the Viper was really the first car to seriously challenge the Chevrolet Corvette for dominance. It has that 8.0-liter V10 with 450 horsepower and 490 pounds-foot of torque, matted to that 6-speed Tremec manual transmission. As I mentioned, the 96 Viper was the first year for the Gen 2, and all the way through 1999, those cars all had forged internals and the 708 cam. The second generation Viper can make the 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat, 0 to 100 in 8.6 seconds, and turn a quarter mile in 12.2. Overall, the Viper drivetrain is remarkably stout and features none of the expensive maintenance requirements of other similarly quick 1990s cars from Italy and Germany. The Gen 2 had the most expensive hood in American history because it's such a low production piece. And that is something, when I was doing a little bit of the research on this car, the parts on these Vipers are so hard to obtain that even cars that have miles and maybe restored down the road are going to have a hard time to achieve those restorations because of how limited and how hard the parts are to come across. So we've seen that in the car world of these nice restorations, bring them back to new. But for these cars, that's going to be really hard. So to find one that is all original, still in the plastic, as we'll see here with the seats, the steering wheels all covered in plastic, the sun visors down to the floor mats. I mean, it's just unbelievable to have an example like this, like I said, 25 years later, that you don't have to worry about getting spare parts or a restoration, obviously, when a car has 79 miles on it and has had one owner since new. According to Hagerty, for example, no one makes the tires for these cars anymore that were sold with the earlier gens. So you'll have to upgrade to the 18-inch rims that came later at the very least, or even move to the slick tires. While the Viper tax is a real thing when seeking out rare replacement parts, especially for the body, the second generation cars are still among the most desirable for both collectors and performance fans. So much so that the 5th gen cars, as mentioned earlier, were styled to resemble them as closely as possible. There's really nothing else like a Viper in terms of look, sound, or the experience behind the wheel. No longer in production, the Viper legacy will be long remembered, and the 1st gen GTS represents what that was all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed viewing as much as we did presenting this Gen 2 Viper GTS. Something that, like I said, is so rare, so few and far between to find examples such as this, the right color combination, the right miles, the right ownership, the right maintenance when it comes to how it was stored, how it was maintained. Really, you know, just like a lot of our stuff belongs in a big time collection, belongs in a museum. But we appreciate having it just like we do all of our cars, and it's a great example. Anyone who's been following us knows the standard we have in terms of quality, and this one checks all the boxes just like all of our cars.